Good afternoon and welcome back. This is U.S. Home Talk. We are live every Wednesday at noon and on demand at ushometalk.com or wherever you guys find your podcasts. We are your host, Marcus Walgrave with South Dakota Home Team powered by Hague Realtors, Jason Walgrave with Walgrave Real Estate Group at RE/MAX Advantage Plus, and Mike Oberson with Luminate Home Loans. We'll be taking all your questions during the show, anything and everything real estate. Our call-in number is 612-234-7585. Again, 612-234-7585. Or you can leave us a message in the Facebook comment section.
Why are you breathing so heavy? You all right over there?
Yeah, it was so embarrassing.
He was just stairs or something.
He was to go grab my chapstick.
He was doing push-ups to get looked all jacked up for the show. He's like, he wanted to be like, I want to get my chest a little bigger for the show here. And then now he's out of breath.
I am out of breath. Sorry about that. Looks like I gotta turn my gain down a little bit. You're clipping, whatever that means. I'm clipping.
I don't know what clipping means.
I wish I could remember the movie. It's Matthew McConaughey, and he's I think he's like a day trader down in Wall Street, and the owner of the firm says, "Hey, you got to change your name. You got to kind of create this like persona and character." So then he's like, got 225 on the bench late at night, reps out like 12, takes a big drag of a cigar, and then he comes up with a name and
is that Wolf of Wall Street? Is it Wolf of
Wall
Street? I don't remember.
But it's a good one.
I remember the scene. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah,
pretty hilarious.
I was not doing that. I was not repping 225 for 10. So, well, we're gonna have a great show here today, guys. We are gonna be talking about what is a healthy neighborhood. And I was, as I usually do throughout the day, I kind of keep an eye on current events and the news and see if I can find any real estate articles. And I came across a really good one. Corin Miller, she's a freelance health reporter, and this article was published on Yahoo.com. And the title of the article is "Green Spaces, Walking Paths, Little Traffic, 7 Features of a Healthy Neighborhood." She kind of starts it out with, what do we mean by a healthy neighborhood? Well, there are just studies that have been done that people live healthier lives when they live in neighborhoods that have these features. Hence, a healthier neighborhood. The features that the neighborhoods have can affect your health. And I mean, I think that seems like a common sense, right? Like you don't really need a study done to know that if you're right next to one of the busiest interstates in the world, I mean it's probably not going to be a neighborhood that's going to provide you with a lot of peace, just from the noise pollution. So, however, I mean it's nice to see articles like that kind of come up, being backed with studies and so. We're just going to jump into it. She had 7. I read the article. I know I shared the link with you guys. All 7 of her features. I mean, I would also, add that to my list of what I would define as a healthy neighborhood. So I think it's a good one. And so the first feature is plenty of green spaces. Now, kind of what they, define that as a green space. You might be considering like a park or trails or grassy areas. And when this comes into like your actual health, well, obviously when you have green spaces, there's a high probability that you're going to have some good tree coverage. And as we all know, trees, they're the ones who produce the oxygen for us and make our air clean. So, these green spaces are are very, very good for our health. Makes a good feature that makes a neighborhood healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of times we have buyers that come to us and, they want new construction, but they end up deciding on existing for that reason, Marcus, because they want to be in a neighborhood where there's, trees that are, 20 years old and they're, it's more grown. And so a lot of the newer neighborhoods, maybe they were developed into an old cornfield or hayfield, and so there aren't any trees. And so people definitely they want the green, the tree coverage. We live in Prior Lake, and in Prior Lake alone, the city has over 100 parks in the city, and Prior Lake's not that big. I think it's 27,000 people. But the parks are a big deal. There's endless walking and hiking and biking trails. Minnesota in the last 10 years has ranked, in the top 3 nationally as far as healthiest places to live, and that's due to the large number of trails and all of the outdoor amenities that we have. And we all know it. If we're spending the morning or the afternoon outside, we're generally feeling a lot better than if we don't. And so I love the idea of green spaces and trees and all that stuff.
I mean, if you were my 8-year-old, you'd be asking right now, well, how many trees does the city have, Jason? Literally, if Tyson was on this with us right now, he'd be asking how many trees the city of Prior Lake has, because
a lot.
They just got a lot, right? Just having this and just having the space to do stuff. You know what I mean? Go throw the football around. Go take some swings. You know what I mean? Get the tee out and go take some swings with the baseball bat. And just go fly your drone that you got for your birthday present. That type of stuff. Having the space to do those things is big.
She's got a note here. Green spaces encourage people to be physically active, which we all know physical activity contributes to the lowering of serious health conditions like obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease. So, just the green space and what it encourages people to do, by default, people end up being more physically active. And I think to your point exactly, Jason, I know Sioux Falls, South Dakota does very well in terms of our square foot of parks per capita. We have a very high rating with that, and bike trails and I mean, when people can be more physically active, they end up being healthier, and so that is a great one. High walkability. Again, this kind of falls into the what we're already talking about, the green spaces, right? I mean, a lot of the green spaces have bike trails or walking trails, and these are paved. To where it doesn't really matter your age. You're going to be able to get on there. If you need to be, kind of a lower weight bearing and be on like a bicycle, things of that nature, it allows for that. So walkability is huge. And it's just not just like the overall for health too, but when that you can hop on a trail and walk to a park or walk to the gas station and have those options, it's going to encourage people to do that. They encourage people to get out there and to get some of that exercise. Walking always is like the I've had some sports injuries and lower extremity sports injuries, and that's that's like one of the first things you have to do for physical rehab. It's once you get off crutches, you have to start walking. and so and a lot of us can walk. It doesn't really matter, kind of your position or ability. It's kind of like a rehab type exercise, but a great one even for people who are super fit.
Yep.
Here's the thing too with walking. Ask any bodybuilder, fitness competition person out there the power of walking when it comes for weight loss and specifically losing fat and fat loss in there. It's way more effective at that than what people think. People are like, oh, go for a walk. Like, what's that going to do for me? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just waste time. It's amazing how just walking, and not a lazy walk, right? Walk at a decent pace, but walking at a decent pace the effectiveness of that, of losing weight and specifically losing fat, is actually pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible, and I always feel like that's too, where you see individuals and they're like, hey, I gotta start running, and you know that they haven't exercised in like years, and it's just like it's interesting how we have that mindset, right, Mike? Where it's like, no, if you want to get in shape or you want to get healthier, you have to get to the weight room and lift weights, or you need to get on the treadmill and do sprints. It's like, no, you just need to be a little bit more physically active than you are, and walking is going to be a great step for you. So, feature number 3 of her list is the minimal traffic. There are 2 major factors to consider with traffic: safety and pollution. Obviously, when you have a lot of cars, the air pollution is going to be a little bit higher in that area. But in terms of like the safety, I think of this, Jason, with our clients that might have pets or a young family, and the house could check every box. It's got the lot, it's got the beds, it's got the baths, it has all the features and amenities that it has, but it might be backing up to or on a busy road.
Yeah.
And you had those buyers out there that have young families or are looking to maybe start young families or even pets. I've had definitely clients in the past have said that their 1-year-old pup got out and ran out in the busy road and unfortunately died from an accident. So that minimal traffic is definitely key as well.
Yeah, I think along with minimal traffic comes the more time that you'll have by not spending it in traffic, right? And so more time you have, maybe those extra 20, 30 minutes give you the ability to go on an additional walk. And you're right about the busy road, Marcus. Had a client just a couple weeks ago, found the perfect house. Lot was spectacular, house was perfect, everything was perfect, but the one side of the lot was on a pretty busy road. And the previous or current owners, they had planted some really nice big evergreens, and but that was a deal killer. They're just like, not going to do it. They got 3 girls under 5, and they're not going to live on that busy road. So, but going back to benefits, extra time means extra opportunity to do maybe some walking or exercising.
Next feature is clean air. Clean air has been linked to several serious health conditions, including cardiovascular disease and cancer. Air pollution can also make it harder for people with asthma and respiratory conditions to breathe, according to the CDC. And so, interesting enough, but neighborhoods will usually track air quality through the Air Quality Index, the the AQI. I'm not real familiar with that, Jason. I don't know if you've know your AQI for your neighborhood, but I think I'm definitely going to click the link and see what I got going on in mine. With when it comes to clean air, and I live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it's the Great Plains. The Sioux Falls metro area, we're over 250,000 people. But you have to travel about 4 hours to get to a large metro like the Twin Cities or the Lincoln Omaha, or even further to get to like Denver, Chicago. So you think about like, hey, you got the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it's hours away from big cities. The air quality must just be superb. But on my weather app, I get it all the time. In terms of air quality, and we have our air pollution. It's usually has to do with like dust, dust from what I would assume is like the farming and things of that nature. So even in a city where we don't really have like a high population density air pollution issue, air pollution can come from other sources too.
Yeah, I look at the Twin Cities here, and the over the last year, maybe even 2 years, a number of high alert, high air pollution days have come, and it's the Canadians' fault. I mean, the wildfires,
starting those fires.
And it's wild because it rolls in. You look at the forecast app on your phone, and it says sunny. And I look up and I'm like, well, there's no sun at all, and so, that's a case where air pollution, I mean, it came all the way down from Canada. We're talking, I don't know, 400 or 500 miles or wherever those fires were. So it can travel. And then, I think a lot of times when people think of air pollution, you think of vehicle air pollution, but it doesn't. It comes from dust. It comes from, natural sources or fires or whatnot. So we're kind of clean air freaks at our house. We have in every bedroom, we've got an air purifier. And I can tell you when we started using those, our family just was healthier. We were sleeping better at night, and they're running all night long while in each of the kids' bedroom and Liz and I's room. But I can tell when it's not on because the air it's not really a scent, but it's different. The air is different when the air purifier is on, and we sleep better, healthier. And I like the noise it makes too. So
yeah, kind of like a white noise. Yeah,
like a white noise.
I was just looking on my weather app, so I have Weather Underground for mine, and I'm looking at it. I don't know if you guys can see this here, but it's got all that stats on there, and it literally goes from pollutants that are less than 2.5 microns, and then less than 10 microns, and then it's got ozone, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide. It measures all those.
Dang.
And you could say today we're at 18 out of 20, which is obviously very good. So
get outside and breathe that air.
Yeah, no kidding. Open up the windows, and well, I guess it's only it's pretty cold out here. And it might not be window opening weather right now, but yeah, it's amazing. Like I would imagine most weather apps probably have that on there. So if you're curious, you can just check out your weather app on your phone and get that info.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike, I just hopped on mine, and we're at it's on I guess I'm not certain what the scale is, but we here in Sioux Falls today is air quality is acceptable.
Acceptable.
So the micro dust is what's moderate going on in the Sioux Falls area. So must be farming. That'd be my guess is the because right now you look outside and so many of the farmers are taking out the corn and soybeans in our that's kind of the two main cash crops in the Great Plains and Midwest. So and they're taking the crops out. I mean, almost all the soybeans are gone that I've seen. There's a couple more fields left that have soybeans, but corn's coming out. Corn goes in first, comes out last, and you see those combines right behind them, and they're kicking it out, and they got a nice little dust shooting out of it, and the semi trucks kind of pulling in and taking the grain to the elevator. So I'd assume that's where that dust is coming from. Yeah, and a little windy. It's a little windy down here in Sioux Falls today. Another feature that Corn has listed in her article is low crime rates. And now, the crime rates is always an item that I shouldn't say item, but a statement that gets brought up with buyers or prospecting buyers. They always ask, "Hey, what kind of crime do we have in this neighborhood? Is it a low crime?" And I think if you're a buyer out there, that's something that you need to you kind of need to define for yourself. What one person says is low crime, somebody might say like, "Holy buckets, that's super high crime." So it's definitely relative to what is acceptable to the individual. It's pretty easy to find out what kind of crime you got going on, and if you just simply reach out to your local police department and inquire. You can give them an address and say, "Hey, have there been any major felonies that have happened in this neighborhood, recently?" And they can give you that information. They can give you that data. So if there is something specific that you're concerned about or you're worried about or that has a lot of meaning to you, go to the horse's mouth and reach out to the police department and ask. And they have the information, obviously accurate information, and they will. They'll provide it to you if you request it. So, low crime rates, a feature of a healthy neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Another one is good access to education. I think we can all relate to this. Anybody who has, a family and they got kids, anytime buyers are coming to my market, they're definitely asking about the school districts. How do they rank within the state? How do they rank nationally? If they're from the neighborhood and they're or from the area and they're maybe just moving from one part of town to the other, they may be asking specifically about like what are the school boundaries. When you have growing cities like we have, the school districts, the boundaries change from time to time. So if you're very adamant about being a part of a specific school district, you probably don't want to purchase something that's right on the border of their district, because sometimes those lines get drawn and one house might be in this school district this year, and then a couple years down the road it gets pulled into another one. So good access to education, very key for a healthy neighborhood.
Well, if we even tie this into, home values, your U.S. Home Talk home values, what's one of the big things that any parents out there looking to buy a house, like I think it's the number 2 factor of what they look for that can drive home values.
Yep.
Right. And that's school district, right? School district is a huge thing with families. It's crazy how much your value can swing if you have 2 school districts, that butt up next to each other, and you got the exact same house on one side of the line versus the other. So the crime rates that we just spoke about, and then access to education, again, tying it to like the home stuff. I mean, the value of your home can be affected by the access to education.
Yeah, it's so true, Mike. I've seen homes in neighborhoods where it's virtually the exact same house, and they're maybe opposite sides of the street. One is in one school district that's less desirable. One is in another school district that's more desirable. And I've seen examples where home price, like value differences, 10% difference, and so, I think that's important to recognize, even if you don't have kids. We have buyers that come to us where they're empty nesters. The kids are all, out of the house. They have their own kids now. And they're asking, what's the school district like? Are they asking because they have kids in the school district? No. They're asking because they know that school district plays a direct factor on the value of your home. And so it is important, and I understand why it's on the list.
Yeah, they kind of has a couple things noted in here. One, obviously, if you have general understanding of health, if you ever go, have to have a doctor's appointment, you're going to be able to convey your concerns to that doctor easier. And then also just in terms of education, minimal education. Ends up those individuals with minimal education do tend to have low income wage jobs, and so that kind of brings down the average household income, and so those are some areas where the housing may not be as desirable, or the quality of the foods in the area may not be as desirable because they're low income housing. So maybe those businesses are trying to go after a different type of demographic group. So good access to education, not just is it good for kids, it's good for the adults as well. It's good for everybody. Quality health care. I feel like, the good access to education and quality health care is kind of one and the same, right? And so I know that's one of the key factors why people like to move to the Sioux Falls area. We have 2 exceptional hospitals that service the Sioux Empire, Avera McKinnon and Sanford. And so, people say that all the time, that's one of the main reasons why that they're moving to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, is because of quality health care. So another great feature for a healthy neighborhood.
It's a big deal. I had a client about a month ago, and she found a property that she really liked, checked all the boxes, and then she did some research on the local hospital, and the reviews were pretty bad. And she said, I can't buy that place. I love everything about it. I like the town, the property, the price, everything, but the hospital is not good, and she needs good hospitals, good access to good health care, and so that we had to find something else. So it's a big deal, and it plays a big factor.
We kind of get this in the Sioux Falls market, and one of the reasons why a lot of people are so interested in Sioux Falls when they tour Sioux Falls is our infrastructure was just well designed. And what I mean by that is it doesn't really matter where you live in town, even if you're on the outskirts. Doesn't in any part, whether it's the north, south, east, west, you could be on the far outskirts of town. You can get to these main campus hospitals within 15 to 20 minutes in a lot of cases. So I've had people who've come here who've simply said, hey, I moved here because I've had some health scares with my heart in the last 5-10 years, and I just simply need to be able to get to the hospital within 30 minutes if I have another one of these episodes. And when they come here, that's like, well, hey, that's going to be easy for me because we can find you any house in Sioux Falls because I can get you to that hospital. Bearing a crazy blizzard, you're going to be able to get there in less than 30 minutes because of our infrastructure. So easy to kind of get around. Guys, that is the 7 that Karen Miller kind of went over with her article on Yahoo.com. Do you guys got any extra ones that you guys can think of?
Well, I think
did we cover it all?
I think we can throw in access to water, and so whether you're talking about lakes or rivers or, that anytime, kids and adults can spend time in the water, exercising and playing, and I think that, that can play a pretty big factor in your health as well.
Well, Jason, I mean, you're kind of talking maybe a little bit of that recreational physical activity.
Definitely.
But I think it's a really good point because, I mean, when you talk about like, what was it, Flint, Michigan, when they were having their drinking water problems.
Yep.
I mean, you're talking about, people getting sick from the water itself in certain areas where the water, the quality of the drinking water isn't good. So yeah, I mean, I think the water, that'd be a really good, really good one to add to the features of a healthy neighborhood is clean water.
Mike doesn't have to worry about that. He only drinks Fiji water.
That's right.
Actually showers in it too.
Or Fiji or Evian, either one. Yeah, I'll move my standards a little bit and go down to Evian if I need to. So
yeah, I think of when I think of the water, I always think of I mean, a lot of the water in my area, a lot of it has runoff from the fields, and so our rivers end up kind of getting beat up. There's quite a bit of pollutants in there from water runoff and erosion kind of being the main factor. And then our lakes are glacier lakes for the most part on the east side of the state. They're glacier lakes. So, if you're not familiar with like a glacier lake, it doesn't necessarily is being like fed by streams and has like, inlets and outlets. It's kind of a bowl. So during years of high rain numbers, our bowls fill up and they become these, large, incredible lakes like you see in like the Devil's Lake area, the northeast area of and even in the Twin City or the Minnesota, I think the Alexandria area is the glacier lakes of Minnesota. So those lakes end up kind of collecting because they're not freshwater fed or spring fed. They might have a little bit more pollutants in them. So it's always kind of interesting about water and water quality. Mike, do you drink your lake water? You go out there and... Nope. We lost Mike, maybe.
We lost Mike.
Well, as always, guys, we really appreciate you guys listening to our show. You can always give us a call on our hotline, 612-234-7 If you guys like our show, make sure you hit us up on YouTube and like our channel and hit the subscribe button and notification button so you guys can get our up-to-date real estate information. And as our show comes to an end, we want to just thank you guys so much for tuning in live and listening and taking time out of your day. We really appreciate it. And if you want to watch today's show, if you only caught maybe the end, or you want to watch any of our past shows, visit our website, ushometalk.com, or wherever you guys find your podcasts. This is Marcus Walgrave, Jason Walgrave, Mike Overson. He says hi and says bye. He's a little frozen right now, but he's here with us, and we hope you guys have yourself a blessed week.